They are all too blue. Always the same in friendship's name.
Every birthday for 66 years, you've told me, thank you for coming to our family. And I want you to know that I'm thankful I came to your family. And I'm thankful that you're my dad. And I love you for so many things, but most recently for the example that you've set of grace and dignity in aging. When we used to ride the Harley Davidson together when I was a little child, you were behind me, assuring me that everything would be all right. Now you're ahead of me, but by only 20 years. And your example has continued to assure me that everything's going to be all right. I want you to know that I will think of you every day for the rest of my life. That when things are tough, I hope that I can still hear your voice and feel your arms around me. And I promise you, I'll try and be as graceful as you have been. and I will also try and become a better and better person every year for the rest of my life, as you have done. I love you so much.
Can't really get any better in the grandpa department than a Grandpa Whicker, because he was just a perfect grandpa. He was an authority figure that everyone looked up to, and he had stories to tell and adventures to share, and he taught me how to drive a stick shift, taught me to be self-sufficient, but he also was a jokester, and he loved to make people laugh, and he gave the best hugs on the planet, and I will miss him so much. I love you, Grandpa.
Hi, this is Towns.
And this is me, down this low from him.
This is Lily. I love you.
What are you making?
Slime.
Show him what slime looks like when you pull it up. Ooh, slime.
Hi, Grandpa. It's Celeste and Emily.
Hi.
We just wanted to tell you one last time that we love you, we'll miss you, and you mean a lot to us. We wish that we could be there with you right now. But we're thinking about you, and you'll always live on in our hearts. Love you.
I love you, Grandpa. I wish I could see you one more time, but just know we both love you so much.
Bye.
Hey, Grandpa.
I want to talk.
Just a minute. Just wanted to send a video to let you know how much we love you and we're thinking about you and Grandma right now. And to quickly just let you know, me specifically, how grateful I am for the lesson you taught me when you said, if you want to figure out how something works, take it apart. And it's become kind of the backbone of how I approach things in so many ways. And it will be taught to our children as well. You want to say something real quick? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I love you, Grandpa.
Aww.
All right. We love you.
We love you.
I'm telling you now.
You bearded old man.
White-haired lady.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Well, as you all know, I attribute a great sense of gratitude to my father and mother for finding the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Delaware when I was 4 and 5 years old. This is a picture of our little family of only 5 children at the time, and I'm very grateful for that. I also got a sense of a good work ethic and a sense of hard work and study from my father. And he's the one who gave me the aviation bug. And this is a picture of he and I upon my graduation from pilot training in the Air Force at Williams Air Force Base in Arizona in 1981. And I'm grateful to him for that because it gave me a great career. I am very grateful that we had experiences together and even some hardship together. This is our wheelchair race at the McKay-D Hospital in 2006, shortly after our powered parachute crash. And even though I eventually lost my leg from that crash, I have learned a great deal from that experience. And I think that it was meant to be to teach me some things that I needed to know and some characteristics that I needed in order to achieve my full potential. So thanks, Dad. I love you. I'll miss you, but I'll see you again real soon. Love you.
I've always loved your fun, crooked smile. That's always something we'll always remember about you and how you love family so much. And you always laugh. And something that comes to my mind when I think of you is your love of God and the gospel. And I'm forever grateful for you and Grandma and your testimony and willingness to accept that and share it with your family. And I will also always think of your patriotism and feel like I have inherited that through my dad, through you, and I am grateful for that from you as well. We love you, and we know we'll see you again.
Grandpa, I've always been a huge advocate of purposefully and intentionally creating opportunities to hear God speak to me, opportunities to talk to God myself. And you created an opportunity that is such a gift to our family, and that was accepting the gospel, the fullness of Him in your life, and consequently passing it on to your children and your children's children. And because of that, we have so many blessings, and I'm so grateful for that. I'm also grateful for your humor. You've always been such a ray of sunshine with your crooked smile and your crooked hat and your fun personality. I'm just so grateful that you are a part of our family and can't wait to wrap my arms around you someday.
Hey Grandpa, it's Jamie. I just wanted to tell you that I love you and that I'll miss you. I'm very grateful for the example you've been in my life and grateful for you. You've always had a personality that brightens a room with the twinkle in your eyes, even when you're jokingly telling me that you can't stand little girls. And I know that we'll see you again after this life, and I look forward to that reunion. I love you.
Hi, Grandma and Grandpa. I just wanted to say how much it has meant to me to be your granddaughter, and Grandpa's great example of shining love and cheer and joy through his eyes towards everyone is something that will stay in my heart. And I also want you to know that I will waste and wear out my life making sure that our children know what we owe you for changing your life and finding and making the restored gospel a part of yours and being such powerful examples of the joy of marriage and forgiveness. And that has meant so much to me, and I love you so much.
When I think of Grandpa, I immediately think of his sense of humor. I remember one time when I was driving and he was in the car and I was backing up, he discreetly banged on the door and made me think that I had hit something. And I remember looking back and just seeing a little twinkle in his eye and hearing his little chuckle because he just got such a kick out of it. But he would always pull me in afterwards and say, You know, I just can't stand little girls, right? And always with the twinkle in his eye. Anyways, we love you, Grandpa.
Grandpa, he's always been funny. He's always been that funny dad, making sure everybody else was laughing and having a good time. And I have a lot of memories with him. These past couple years, I've been able to go up to their house a lot more and go spend time with them, and that's been really, really good for me. I even got to live with them for a couple weeks, and that was fun. Grandpa tried to teach me stick shift to go over too well, but still appreciate the effort. Love him a lot. He's a really good grandpa. But I only love him this much. I can't love him too much.
I was only 6 years old. That night I pouted on my bed. I'd been sent to my room early by my daddy. I had cried the tears of anger, but now regret was there instead. Missing good times, I could hear my family happy.
My favorite thing about Grandpa is that he's always in a happy mood.
My favorite thing about Grandpa is, well, one of my favorite things is his sense of humor. He's always silly. The other day when I FaceTimed him, I told him I was sorry I couldn't be there to give him a hug. He said, "I'm sorry, I can't too. They took my motorcycle."
My favorite thing about Great Grandpa is that he's really sweet and caring.
And we just love Grandpa so much. We're gonna miss him, but we're happy to know that we'll see him again one day. We love you, Grandpa. Mwah.
And it might as well have been the King of Heaven in his place, 'cause that's how this young boy felt as he gazed on Daddy's face.
I don't know why, but I got it into my mind. I wonder what the worst swear word in the world is. And so I was going to ask the person who I was sure knew the answer to everything, and that would be you. I said, "Dad, what is the worst curse word, swear word in the world?" And my mind is racing. Oh, I wonder which one he's going to say. And you looked at me and you said, "Well, the worst curse word in the world is anytime you take God's name in vain." And I never forgot it.
One time my daddy said he hoped his boy would be a better man and avoid the grief, the pain, the shamefulness he bore. But what Daddy didn't know, perhaps by now he understands, that I was learning with him, and a son should never ask for more. I learned from Daddy, there are times when a man must be a child and call on heaven's throne to slay those demons dark and wild. Oh, what better way to know the King of Heaven and of earth?
Dad, the thing that I want to mention in this short video, the greatest thing that I think you taught me, and out of all the many wonderful ways that you set great example, is the love of God, and how we should strive to grow in our capacity to love and be more like Him in that way, and in the peace of His Son Jesus Christ. And you taught me not to judge, that judging is a failure to forgive. You taught me how to forgive ahead of time, even, and set such a great example in showing love to others and feeling for others and being sensitive to others and giving service, and I thank you for that.
One of the memories that comes to my mind is that you and Grandma had confidence in me to start Hug-A-Day Child Care Center. And when you would come to fix things, they deemed you Grandpa Fix-It. So when Grandpa Fix-It came into the daycare, and they loved how dressed up you always were just to come and fix things. And the people that loved you the most when you came was your grandkids. It was so much fun to have you come and spend time with them. One thing that I realized is that you were a great fix-it man, and you did know how to fix things, and I'm grateful for that. But the biggest thing that I can remember is how you allowed the real fix-it man to change your life. How you turned to our Savior Jesus Christ and utilized the atonement in your life so that he could fix you, so that you could be a great example to each and every one of us to turn to our Savior Jesus Christ and to turn to the true fix-it man. I will always remember Grandpa Fix-It. I will be forever grateful for your love and unconditional forgiveness to each and every one of us. You taught me how to forgive, to remember how to forgive. And you taught me through your example that and your ever unconditional love that you have for each and every person. I appreciate you. I adore you. I am grateful for you. And I pray that I will be able to live worthy enough to spend time with you in the eternities. I love you, and I love Mom. Love you, Mom and Dad.
I just want to thank you most of all for listening to the missionaries all those years ago, for listening to the Holy Spirit and accepting his gospel. Well, the second thing I want to tell you thank you for is for your example of the atonement of Jesus Christ. You have been one of the most powerful examples of how amazing our Savior is and the changes that he can make in us if we will turn to him. I love the smell of cloves. Cloves remind me of Grandpa. They bring back lots of fond memories for me as a kid whenever you come home. My love for aviation and airplanes comes from you. Your map with all the pins across the world in it stemmed my desire to travel and keep a record of all the places I've been. I loved how cute you were with your sisters. And how much you all loved each other. I loved how you just love. I loved how powerful you are and how patient you were.
Just a couple of words that come to mind when I think of you. Number one is authentic. I love how authentic you are. And adventurous. I love your smirky smile and how loving you are and how playful you are. Another word that comes to mind is family. How much you love family, and I'm super grateful for the love that you have for our family as well. And I guess my last word would be adoration. How much you adore others and how much I adore you as well. I know you'll be sending our little one down with a kiss, and not fair, Cody. You made me love you till we meet again.
Hey Grandpa, this is Talon. I just wanted to say that I love you and that I'm grateful for you and you teaching me how to play ping pong I remember I always loved to swing on that giant swing at the front of your house, and I loved watching you up in the sky in your paraglider. I remember you taking us for rides on your scooter and how fun that was. Thank you for choosing to join the church all those years ago and being a great example. I love you.
Grandpa, this is Owen Wicker. I just wanted to say that I love you and I will miss you, and I always love how happy you are and how kind you are to everybody and make us all feel safe around you, and how you always have fun with us, like when you play ping pong with us. Thanks for doing that. And I loved how you rode around all the little kids on your scooter, and love your cowboy hats and your ties, and thank you for letting me have one of those, and I will wear it often. Thank you. Love you. Bye.
Hi, Grandpa. This is Keani. I just wanted to let you know that I love you and know that you are one of the happiest and funniest people I know. You are a great grandpa. I love all the memories we have together. In fact, I remember when you took everybody out on your scooter and drove around, and when it was my turn, you drove around and we went in a big circle, and then you let me drive. It was really fun.
Go ahead.
And I love you. You're a great grandpa. And I must be pretty lucky to have you and Grandma. Love you.
Oh, this is Grayson. Grandpa, I love you. I don't want to die. You are the best grandpa in the world. You are fun. You are a great example for everyone. I love you, Grandpa. You really are great. Love you. Miss you. See you in heaven.
Hi, Grandpa. This is Mariah. Love you. I'm happy that I got to see you last summer. I love you.
Can't wait to see you again.
I can't wait to see you again. Love you. I love you, Grandpa. This is Tristan. I want to say I love you. I hope you have a good time on your next adventure in heaven. Hope you have a great time in heaven. And please bless that. And I want you to stay alive for a little while.
That what?
I want you to stay alive for a little while too.
Stay alive for a little while? Okay.
Yeah. And I want you to
Look right
see
here.
us again. Stuff. And I want you to know that I love you. And I hope you do have very much fun on your next adventure in heaven. And bye.
Love you. Bye.
I love you. Bye.
Hi, Grandpa. I just want to let you know how grateful I am for the lesson that you taught me on the power of forgiveness. I often remember you telling me that before you'd even get out of bed in the morning, you would forgive those that might wrong you throughout the day. And I know that's got to be the key to your success of having such a joyful life. And I hope I can share that with my kids in the way you did with me. Love you.
What I love about Grandpa Whicker is that he's soft-spoken, and you really have to concentrate and listen to what he has to say, because he always has good things to say.
I love that he laughs a lot.
I liked going over and riding his scooter with him.
I like his jokes.
Grandpa, thank you so much for instilling in me a wonderful work ethic, a love for my family, a love for the country, and most importantly, a love for the gospel of Jesus Christ. I am so grateful that you and Grandma followed the Spirit and listened to the missionaries all those many years ago, and that I am able to have the gospel in my life. You are such a great example of the atonement and of Christ-like love, and I am grateful for that example. I love you.
Hi, Grandpa. Hi. We love you. Bye. Thank you for being you, because if there wasn't you, there wouldn't be a me, and there wouldn't be these 4 amazing kiddos. I love you so much. Everybody blow kisses. Blow kisses, Gideon.
When I think of Grandpa, I think of truth, light, and love. His crooked smile always made you feel loved, even if it was teasing you. The way that he quietly spoke, you could feel all the love always from him. And I feel like he was probably the best example in my life of living my best life and not dwelling on my past. Love you, Grandpa.
I don't know that I have any one specific memory that stands out. I just have a whole bunch of memories throughout my entire life. I can remember specifically as a kid, you coming out and playing basketball with us, specifically on your rollerblades and your shorts and your very white legs. That was always a really fun time. I remember growing up and you taking the time to teach me some important lessons. I remember having conversations specifically with you about about how to treat your wife and your children, which have helped me be a better husband and father, I'd like to think. And I can remember you having some discussions with me about the priesthood and what it means and how important it is to live a worthy life in order to use that priesthood. And I can remember in my early adult years when I needed priesthood blessings and you were able to give those to me, and I can remember the feelings of peace and comfort that I had during those times, and I remember just being very grateful. Just lots of great memories, and I'm sure grateful for you. I love you and can't wait to see you again.
So before I even met Jack, I worked at Honest Engine, and we had this customer, this cute little old man that would come in. He had the most infectious smile, and he was just so nice and so cute, and he was just always so happy, and he was one of my favorite customers to help. So fast forward to when I met Jack, and we started getting more serious and we got engaged, and we went and met Grandma and Grandpa Whicker. And afterwards I kind of freaked out to Jack, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's your grandpa. That's my favorite customer. I love when he comes in. He's so cute. He's like the cutest little old man ever. He's my favorite. And Jack kind of laughed at me, but I was just so excited, Grandpa, to know that you were going to become my grandpa. And it's been almost 12 years since you became my grandpa, and I obviously wish that we had more time with you, but I'm grateful for the time that I have had with you, and that my boys have got to grow up knowing you. And I'm grateful for the great example that you have been to not only me, but my boys and to Jack. You've done so much for us, and you just have been such a great example of how to live your life and how to be, and such a great example of faith and living the gospel. And we're just so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for you, and I'm so grateful that I got to know you and have you in my life. And I just love you so much. I loved you. You were just my favorite before I even really knew you. You were just a customer that would come in and brighten my day. And I'm just grateful that I got to have you in my life and that I get to have you as my grandpa. And I just can't wait for the day that we'll get to see each other again. I love you so much, Grandpa.
We love you, Grandpa. Thank you for being such a good example for us. We can't wait to see you again. Hey, Bud. We love you, Grandpa.
Riders with the Patriot Guard granted a surprise to an 86-year-old Air Force veteran who served in the Korean War.
Fox 13's Adam Herbett shows us why it meant so much to him to get back on a motorcycle for the first time in years.
He wakes up and the only thing he ever expresses desire for is he'll say, to get me a Harley.
At first, he thought it was just a wish. But it only took a couple days for riders across Utah to plan on making it a reality.
Appreciate y'all being here. I don't know why you are, but I appreciate you being here.
The light that lit up his eyes just really warmed my heart. I'm thinking he's going to have sore face muscles later because he just cannot stop. It's going to be a steady decline from here, but I'm so thankful our family was prepared for this.
Well, it warms our hearts as well.
So back when we were in Garland, that was a long time ago. It was the worst place we ever lived, but we kind of got into a fight. And Dad, Garland's an hour and 15 minutes away, and Dad got wind of the fight, and he immediately jumped in the car to come see us. And Dad, I really appreciated that. It showed that family and your leadership as a father was still very important to you, even though we were full-grown adults.
And Daddy, I really appreciate the way Mom and Dad, both of you, have aged. You have done it with grace, with dignity, with love, and Dad, humor. And we really want that to be our example in life.
Yeah.
And we're so grateful for all that you have done for us in showing us unconditional love, total acceptance, and that life can be a fun journey.
Love you so much, Dad.
Love you.
Bye.
My name is Audrey Jagman.
Say, I love you, Grandpa Whicker.
And I love you, Grandpa Whicker.
And this is Ridley Jagman, Jonathan and Elena's youngest. Hi. Say hi. We love you, Grandpa. From Elena and Jonathan Jagman.
One of my favorite memories with Grandpa is sledding off the garage, hitting a berm on the carport that turned us and launched us into the backyard. I'm pretty sure before the apartment was there. But a bunch of kids in winter on a slippery metal roof, 30 feet in the air. But it sure was a good time. I appreciated it.
Hey, so I've got a lot of fun memories with Grandpa. The ones that stick out is, when I was little, I loved being in the back of his truck on those tiny little seats. I thought it was fun, and he would always love driving us around in that. And another one that sticks out a lot is when he took me up flying in that little paraglider thing. I don't know what it's called, but that was awesome, and it was really fun. And then the other ones is whenever he sees my tattoos, he always mentions that he's got a tattoo for Grandma on his arm, and he's always proud of it, and he always just mentions that. It always made me laugh, and I just thought it was cute. So, but yeah, I have a lot of fun memories with Grandpa, and I'll always cherish them.
I have two memories of Grandpa that he wanted to talk about. The first is his 4th of July gear. So it was the very tall patriotic hat. And then he had shorts that showed off his extremely white glow-in-the-dark legs. And then he topped it all off with rollerblades. The other one is from a family reunion where he and Grandma were singing to each other. And he was looking at her the entire time with the most loving, admiring look. And it's very telling of him because he's very fun and very loving. And that's a love that I felt my entire life. Love you, Grandpa.
Hey Grandpa, it's Jenny. I just wanted to give you a couple of my favorite memories of you. The first is that when we were little, every time you would see me, you'd give me a big old hug and say you can't stand little girls, and then you would give me the scratchiest kiss with your mustache. I would squirm and I'd, squirm away, but I sure loved it, and it was just fun every time. I also loved your the little map where you had the pins of everywhere that you'd flown, and I loved imagining you there in your cool bomber jacket that you always had. And then as an adult, every time I would come to visit, you would always ask me if I was keeping those Missourians in line, and I loved that because it was just your way of letting me know that even though you have 1.5 million grandkids, you knew about what was happening in our lives and you cared about us. I sure do love you. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Grandpa has always given me a love for fixing things, and that got me to tinkering with technology. And so he's actually been a pretty foundational part of my interests and my hobbies and what I enjoy doing. Included in that is my love for driving. I love being on the road, motorcycles, cars, whatever it is. Operating a piece of machinery like that and to go at those speeds is there's something about it that I love, and we share that. We got to drive a new Corvette when I was a kid that my dad had purchased from Nevada to Utah together. My grandpa and I flew out to Nevada to get it, and we got to take that 7-hour road trip home together in a new Corvette. I remember he let me drive, and he pretended like he was sleeping. And so he was just kind of eyes closed, like in the passenger seat. And I look over and I see that his eyes halfway open and peeking over at me, but he doesn't know this. He thinks that he has tricked me into thinking he's sleeping. And so I'm like, well, he's giving me an opportunity. You see what I do. I'm definitely going to take this to the limit. And so I slowly get, the pedal on the gas a little bit harder, and you feel the power, but not so much that it'll wake him up, right? But I get up to about 115 or so because I wanted to see what he would do. And around 115 miles an hour, he wakes up. He's just like, oh, and just kind of awake all of a sudden, right? And so I slow down, and it was a really fun experience to have that with him. My love for flying, I don't have my pilot's license, but I'm going to get it. And I love flying every time I go, every time I fly. I love the feeling of taking off, being in the air, and there's no doubt in my mind that came from him as well. So I love you, Grandpa.
When I think of Grandpa Whicker, there is not a more iconic or well-branded grandparent out there. His bolo tie, his boots, his hat, his 4th of July hat, rollerblading in the parade, the suit he wore to our wedding.
I was actually having a conversation with a friend the other day, and he said that he could beat me in ping pong. And I laughed at him because obviously he can't beat me in ping pong. And I got to thinking about that for a second, and I think the reason that I love ping pong so much is because of Grandpa. I remember the ping pong, I could never beat him in ping pong. I remember the back of his truck. I don't know. It was like carpeted in the back of the truck, and it was always like getting in a tent. And if like we could get in the back of Grandpa's truck, it was like it was a party back there. I don't know why. And you could like sit in there with little steps. It was great.
And Grandpa's workshop.
In Grandpa's workshop.
His very organized workshop.
And you don't take things from Grandpa's workshop. Everything had an outline, very, very particular, specific places that these items went. Obviously flying.
And he was a pilot.
He was a pilot. He would fly. We'd see him all the time over Kaysville, just soaring over Kaysville. I think it was a purple and yellow parachute. If I'm taking any quality from him, it is his ability to put on anything, the craziest of hats, just the goofiest of glasses, the loudest of neckties or jackets or whatever it was, and wear it with confidence and with swagger. So I am taking that, and at any party I go to, any hat I put on, I will work it, and every time I'll think of you, Grandpa. We love you, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Love you.
Hey, Grandpa. Grandma, just wanted to tell you we love you so much. And one quick memory I have that I absolutely love is every time I smell popcorn, I think of when we would come over and watch movies, and I will always remember that, and I will always love the smell of popcorn because of that. Say love you. Love you. Mwah. Mwah.
Some things that my daddy taught me. If it's worth doing, it's worth doing right. Don't force it. If it won't come open, then take time to investigate, figure out how it works, and do it right. It's easier to repair something than replace it. So if something looks like it's coming loose, then get right on it and fix it so you don't end up having to go to the store and paying to have it replaced and doing all that extra work. You'll save yourself a lot of trouble. He always was very good at cleaning up after himself, putting things away, putting tools away as he went for other ones that he needed, and just kept his projects really clean. And he said, it's not extra effort, I'm just being lazy. He said, I don't want to have to come back and clean it up in the morning. I want to save myself some steps and some trouble. So really, I'm just being lazy. And I've always admired that and hope that I can do that better. Daddy has always been my protector. Through some really difficult times in life, some very real physical dangers, he would come and spend many nights in my guest room, armed and ready to protect me and my children at all costs. He also taught me to protect myself because he knew he couldn't always be there. It's been difficult to see the roles change somewhat and to become the one that would have to do the protecting if anything were to happen. But him being here and just has been such a blessing and such a comfort. And I know it sounds odd, but having him gone is gonna feel a little scary to me. He made us laugh so much, and this last week has been difficult, but also such a hoot because he's hilarious, and he would spend great effort to get words out, and we'd have to listen 3 times and so that he could get a joke out that would make us laugh. And that's just how he was, always doing things for other people, fixing cars of widows, doing lawns, shoveling, snow blowing, anything he could do to make someone else's load a little lighter. And that's what he's done for us this last week. And it's been a joy to watch this process. And Daddy, I'm gonna miss you, but I'll see you again. And give Grandma and Grandpa and Johnny a hug for me. I love you.
3, 2, 1.
One of the biggest things that I've learned from you that I want to share is just the way that I've seen you treat Grandma my whole life. You're one of the 2 examples of a gentleman that I've had growing up, and you're a perfect example of it. I've wanted to be like you when it comes to how I treat the people I love, and I try to do it every day. I always think, what would Grandpa Whicker do whenever I'm upset or at my wit's end? And I just thank you so much for that and for being that example.
This is Gabriel Richardson. I lived with Grandpa Whicker for 5 years up until the end of 2019, and he always remained the same person. He always, through his mood swings where he'd not be feeling as good one day, he's still the same person, still making the same jokes, and still trying to keep everybody else happy despite his own not maybe being there right now. And he always wanted to be doing something to help the house out, to fix the house up, even when he didn't realize that he could no longer do those things on his own. He was always trying, always wanting to do something, like fix stuff up, you know, go to the garage, make sure all his tools are aligned and in their right spots. And it's just always been a staple, a rock that never changes. And it's just there to always come back to and rely on.
I will never forget the first time Grandpa took me on his paraglider. I was in the 7th grade, and we had planned going on his paraglider for a while. And so I got to tell all my friends at school that I was going to be up in the air one day. And so the day came around, and I went up in the air with Grandpa, and he took me flying over the school, and I had told all my friends to look up in the air, and they all saw me, and I saw them, and it was a really cool experience. Thank you, Grandpa.
Hi, Grandpa. I just want you to know that you're my best friend, and at a few times in my life, you were the only friend that I thought I had. I couldn't talk to you about anything. I'd always come to you when I had something I needed to talk to someone about, and you'd always tell me a story. A funny story, of course, just to make me feel better. I remember last year I had a project due, and it was a broom. So you helped me make it. And to be honest, it was the best looking broom in the building. I just think that you're the coolest grandpa ever, and I'm gonna miss you. I love you so much.
You lately that I love you. Could I tell you once again somehow? Have I told with all my heart and soul how I adore you? Well, darling, I'm telling you now. This heart of mine would break if I should lose you. I'm no good without you anyhow. Have I told you lately that I love you? Well, darling, I tell you.